Well, hello YouTube. Recently, Hamza Krumza posted a video where he showed a build to make 20 knights in 20 minutes with the Franks. So I thought, can we do this also with the Berbers? Because a lot of people might think, well, aren't the Berbers very suited for this? Since actually they have much cheaper knights. So I thought, let's try this, and I actually succeeded to make the 20 knights within 20 minutes. So I'm going to replay the build here for you. Actually, I didn't really put up an exact build order with villager number X going to this resource at exactly this time or whatever. But it's basically just a pretty regular fast castle into 2 stable knights. So it's not that different from what you're actually used to if you know a fast castle build. So yeah, forgive me if I'm stuttering a bit now and then, because I'm not really into making YouTube videos, but let's see how far we can get. So of course we need a decent base on a map like Hideout, for example, because then you have walls that are weak enough to break in with knights into your opponent's base, but strong enough to keep you safe throughout the Dark Age usually. So here you can see I'm luring my deer, and I'm used to sending first 7 villagers to food and then 4 to wood, which is slightly different from the 6 and 3 that a lot of pros do, but I think this is for me a bit easier to actually pull it off without having to force drop off food, etc. So meanwhile I'm showing here some statistics, some differences between the Franks build by Hamza Krumza and the Berbers build that I'm showing here. So as you can see from this table, the Hamza Krumza build has a pretty late feudal age, going up with 27 villagers, while my build is basically just a fast castle and then you're more than a minute earlier. From feudal you pretty much click up to castle age after making 2 more villagers and making your required buildings. Well, the 20 knights can in both cases be reached in 20 minutes. Hamza Krumza slipped up here and there maybe in his build, but so do I actually. I actually had about 7 villagers idle for about 10 seconds a bit later in this video, so there's even room for improvement here. Regarding eco tax, Hamza Krumza didn't really did any tech upgrades for his economy. Of course, as Franks you get horse collar and heavy plow for free. But I decided to go for the more standard approach, in which horse collar and double bit axe are usually researched pretty early, and so did I. So actually this build suits a bit better for going up with lower eco, but with more standard, and it's a bit easier to transition into a boom with this build. So here I show also some advantages and disadvantages. So I think the standard fast castle is a bit less risky, because when you're earlier to feudal age you can react earlier to enemy early aggression, such as building a counter tower if your opponent is threshing, for example. You can transition a bit better into a boom, because in my build I ended up with a bit more wood in reserve and less food invested in farms, and only 2 stables built instead of 3. So it's a bit easier to transition to multiple TCs. However, with my build I ended up with 27 or 28 villagers only. By the 20-minute mark. Well, Hamza Krumza in his build actually was around 35 or something. So that's actually a bit better eco on the 20-minute mark. But of course he took some more risks to get there. Well, the Franks have 3 bloodlines instantly, and for Berbers that's not the case. So you actually have to idle a stable and wait a few seconds to get the food. But then while your knights are running towards the enemy base, you can actually research bloodlines and also skill barding for defense. because your eco is weak, you have to idle your stables a bit to get those stacks. But I think that's okay because the first 20 knights have to do the damage and get you basically back into the game, also economy wise. I think with both builds you can only keep up 2 stable knight production. Krumza had at the end of his build order around 20 minutes he had 3 stables producing, but with the number of villagers he had on food and especially on gold, he really couldn't keep that up for long. His gold was like really dwindling, the amount of gold he had in the bank throughout the 15 to 20 minute marks. So yeah, basically that is the overview. Let's go back to the build now, because we are already on our way to the feudal age with 25 population. So what I basically did is pretty standard fast castle. First 7 villagers do food, then 4 to wood. Then the next few go to food again, so then you are on about 14 on food, and then you do a few more on wood. So it's about 14 on food, 7 on 14 on food, 7 on wood, as you can see now. The last 3 go to gold before you click up, so that you have 200 gold when you reach the feudal age, like we're doing now. So now you see that I will build a stable and the blacksmith. Of course, we also had to build a barracks in Dark Age because we want the stable to be built as a military feudal building, because we need stables to produce knights. So making market and blacksmith wouldn't make much sense, because then you would also still need to build the barracks and 2 stables in order to get the knights out. So here I'm actually clicking up with just exactly enough resources. And because we lured all the deer and we sent a few extra to berries, so they expire a bit earlier, but now we didn't build any farms yet. And actually, as you can see, I'm researching horse collar now, and I think soon after I will also click the double bit axe upgrade. I have the resources for it now. So I'm recording this, so cannot exactly tell you what happens when, but it should be incoming soon. So for the Berbers, you have cheaper knights, which means that you only need 5 farmers and 6 gold miners to constantly keep producing knights from 1 stable. So we should end up with 10 farmers and 12 on gold to sustain it. In this build I think I actually only sent 10 to gold, but because there's some reserve of gold, you can actually keep up the production of knights until 20 minutes without problems. Here I'm significantly idling my villagers, which was of course not the idea, so definitely room for improvement. So just before reaching Castle Age you need to ramp up the gold production quickly, so I sent 5 to this gold here and 5 to this gold, so that's only 10. And now I'm basically converting my wood to farms. As you can see, we are in the feudal age, decently before the 15-minute mark. So now meanwhile we have 2 stables and we start producing. We have some slight idle time here actually, but we are kind of just having enough food, and with a very little idle time we can actually keep producing them. A knight takes 30 seconds to produce, so from 2 stables you have 2 per 30 minutes, 2 per 30 seconds, so that's 4 per minute. So to get 20 knights you need 5 minutes. So you basically need to start at the 15-minute mark with double stable production in order to reach 20 knights by 20 minutes. So as you can see from the resources, we are actually pretty low on all resources except for gold, but we have not enough gold villagers to compensate for the knights, so this will slowly decline. And basically we are investing the wood we have into new farms most of the time pretty quickly, and we now have 11 farmers. So that should be enough to sustain night production. Since we were a bit too low, we have a little bit of idle time, but from now on it should be going pretty well. Here I can queue up the next one before the previous one created. So now it starts looking good. Here we can do the same now. So basically, I actually have 2 spare for food now, and 2 villagers too few on gold. But if we would have it the other way around, we could keep producing knights from 2 stables indefinitely if we wanted to. However, we are idling our TC for now, just to show that you can reach the 20 knights by 20 minutes and then surprise the enemy with an early attack. Of course, that's the idea of this build. So you're actually letting your economy suffer on purpose. I mean, if you really wanted good economy, you went to multiple TCs upon reaching Fast Castle. But having production from 0 instead of 1 TC, it's not that much worse than from 1 TC instead of 3, for example. So it's basically the 1 TC aggression with some idle time on your TC, I would say. So as you can see, we're actually floating wood now. We have enough food. So you could either make a few more farms and have a bit more food then and start producing villagers as well, or you could now already transition into an extra TC. As you can see, we are on 19 knights now. For this build I'm actually idling the stables from now on, and as you can see, here we are at 20 knights, and we are, on the moment it popped out, it was 19 minutes and 58 seconds. So we are within the 20 minutes that we reached this. And as you can see, I can now run these knights towards the enemy. And if I idle my stables for a little bit, then soon I have the resources to click for bloodlines. If we wait a little bit more, then we can also do skill barring armor for the first defense upgrade for the knights. So by the time I actually reach the opponent, the defense upgrade will be in, bloodlines will be in, so I'm good to go basically. And I could also build a new TC if I wanted right now, which is actually what I'm doing here to show it. And here I chose to stop the night production and show that you can basically transition into a food economy. And just you could transition into a boom. I think if you compare it to the build of Hamza Krumza, he actually went up later to Castle Age, so he reached Castle Age past the 15-minute mark, so he needed more than 2 stables to be able to build the knights within 20 minutes. But actually in this build, he wouldn't have made it. This is too loud, this noise. But you can see that the TC goes down pretty quickly. But with his build, he didn't have... it looks stronger if you have 3 stables producing knights in the end of the build. But as I told you, with Franks you actually would need 18 farmers and 21 villagers on gold to actually sustain that 3 stable production indefinitely. So then you need like 40 villagers already, plus villagers for wood and building houses, so we really wouldn't have the economy for that. So, well, basically that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm not really experienced into making these videos, as you can probably tell, but I hope if you love the game and if you love some good build orders, that you might still enjoy this. Well, have a good day.